I would recommend just starting on the Google homepage and typing in Google My Business. You can see it's come up here on my one. Do it quite often. Go into our link, and there's the Google My Business link right at the top over here. So once you're in the Google My Business page, if you already have an account and you just want to go into it and run through everything to make sure all the information is in place, you can click the sign in button. However, for most of us, we want to set it up from scratch. So we can go on to the Manage Now. And you first need to type in your business, and what you'll find is maybe you've forgotten that you set up a Google My Business account before, and if you put this in here, it will actually pick up your previous listings. So let's just quickly show. If I had to go Metis online, it has picked up that I already have that listing over here, so telling me my listing has already been claimed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up for my new business called Metis Accelerator. Okay, so we got here our business name, Metis Accelerator. So now I need to choose my business category. So you can just type away and search for whatever feels the most or feels the closest. On our side, let's actually see if I can get it a little bit more. Okay, so I can just try a few things to see what actually ends up suiting us the best. So I'm going to go with marketing agency for this one. So now we can start adding our services. So I'm going to just put here, I don't know where they come up with telemarketing. So I'm going to put here, we do pay per click advertising. And we do Google advertising. And we run social media advertising. So really go crazy here. I would put in as much as that is relevant for you. I think just be very careful just putting absolutely anything down. We definitely still want it to be relevant for you. Otherwise, it can make your listing look a little bit messy, as well as I think that you lose that expertise level when you start, having like hundreds of services down there. You do want to look like an expert in your particular field. Okay, so I'm going to go on to the next part. So over here is whether you actually have a physical location. So if you have a brick and mortar store, if you have an office where people can come visit, so you can put this down and still state that you have to book an appointment to come there. So for example, on our side, we do have an office. However, we're not necessarily always at the office. So people actually have to book an appointment to see us. However, I still like the idea of having a physical pin, as I find that we then, people can see us on Google Maps. And again, we're looking for that free exposure wherever we can get. So we like to put down a location. Definitely recommend it. So now just got to put in our address. And this will help Google actually find the pin on the map. I'm just going to add a line on my one, just because we are actually in a square. I just want to make mention of that. Okay. All right, so it's now picking up the fact that I already have another listing, or there is another listing in this one over here. So it's asking me if I am Metis Online, which I am, but I'm just going to, for this particular sake, just say this doesn't match. At the end of the day, you can be two different businesses in the same office. Okay, so now it's allowing you to get a map. Now, this is quite important. So as you can see, for my particular business, it has a pin drop over here, which is essentially correct because our office is on the left-hand side of the building. However, people need to enter our building a little bit further up, or into the square a little bit further up. And what we have found is when we left our pin over here, it actually made it very difficult because people were sort of going up and down the road here trying to look for us. So what we recommend is, even if it's not exact, just rather adjusting the pin to where your client will enter the building essentially. So I'm just going to adjust it and just put it over here, and that is essentially the entrance into Century Square. Just a little tip. So this is why what we were speaking about earlier on in regards to whether customers come to you or whether you go to customers. So you can actually state here, yes, I also go out to customers. So maybe you have a plumbing services and you service people within the area. In our particular case, we do service customers outside our location because we essentially can go to their premises for meetings. All right, so if you would like, this is where you could state the service areas that you operate in. And I think this is especially great for, I find like the home improvement sector generally only work within a certain radius, or potentially you in part of a franchise and you're restricted to a certain area. You can it is optional, but you can put it in the areas that you service. Okay, now we would like to put in our contact details. So I'm just gonna, where can people contact me from? And our current website. So we actually busy with the Metis Accelerator website, but I'm just going to use the Metis Online one in the meantime. And that's no problem because you can go in and change this information whenever you need to. There are some options here for those of you that don't have a website. So either you can just state that you don't need a website, and we will be chatting about this a little further in one of our chapters about websites versus landing pages. And I think one of the things that you will see in a moment is Google My Business can build a website for you. So I'm actually going to choose that so we can look at that in a little bit more detail. And it will essentially base it on the information that we're putting into our Google My Business account. So this is just Google's way of asking whether they can send you emailers or newsletters. I personally find the information they send is really, really valuable. A lot of newsletters these days are a waste of time, but this particular newsletter is good. So I would recommend signing up for it. All right, and that's the prompt side of setting up your Google My Business account. Next up, we'll go into level 2, which is a lot more fun, and we'll start getting a lot more details in there.